I know what it's like to walk and play sports, and the older Rabbeim say you appreciate what you have until you lose it. It's true,
right?
But they're saying they're not. It's not just
fluffy talk,
yeah.
Right?
Jinx. It's really true, because I for 19 years I walked like a regular able-bodied person, and now Hashem said for whatever reason you're not going to do it. And fine, that's what it is.
Welcome back to another episode of Inspiration for the Nation. Yes, 2 in 1 week. During the 3 weeks, we will be putting out 2 episodes a week. And this week, I get to speak to someone who's younger than me, something that doesn't really happen so often on Inspiration for the Nation. And the person that I'm talking to is remarkable when they're younger than me. I'm so young myself. I'm just 30 years old. But Yossi has done so much with his life, and he's just getting started. You'll hear about the challenges he has endured. You would think that, losing the ability to walk was enough of challenges in his life. But while he was going through that process, he also lost his mother. And he talks about what gives him a chizuk, what inspires him to keep on moving, and how he started his whole organization. I think you're going to particularly like this episode. Yes, he's a good friend, and he actually lives right near me in Rockaway, and I get to see him all the time, and he gives me chizuk all the time, and that's why I'm so happy about this episode. This episode is in memory of Shimon David ben Yaakov Shleima. It is also in memory of Miriam Sarah Bas Yaakov Moshe, and this week's sponsor is another podcast called 36. It's been around for a minute, and you'll hear a lot more about their goodness and what a unique, special type of podcast. And I'll tell you more about it. Without further ado, Yossi Hecht. We can all use some inspiration to help us overcome the obstacles we encounter in our lives. Get ready for thrilling conversations about struggle and triumph with those in pursuit of making a positive impact in this world. I'm Yaakov Langer, and you're listening to Inspiration for the Nation.
You are listening to Inspiration for the Nation.
Okay, thank you for that intro. I think I'm going to keep that in. Here we are with Yossi Hecht today. And Yossi, we've been hawking about doing this interview for how long at this point?
Maybe, I don't know, it was my brother-in-law from Centers.
Yes,
right?
Yitzi Kramer.
Right, so
the best.
It's been they got engaged 2.5 years ago, I think.
We were hawking there about it, right?
Yeah, so it's good 2.5 years.
It's when I first started doing podcasts, and I remember telling you, I'm like, you're awesome, you're great. You still have a long time in your life. We'll get you when you're way older. But it's only been
a cancer is not a death sentence. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's true. So, no, I was being very helpful, and but yeah, in these past 2 years, you've done so much.
Was that okay?
What, the joke?
Yeah,
you could make whatever jokes you want.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I love dark humor.
Is that? Did you always have dark humor?
I didn't have anything dark humor to talk about. So.
No, okay, got it.
You can't make up that your mother died. You know what I'm saying? It's a stupid thing to make up, and it's not Ein Hara. So
Is that I'm just gonna get very mental healthy? Is that a coping mechanism for you?
Are we going to what's the podcast called? Off the Couch or something?
Oh, that's an issue.
Oh, that's an issue.
That's
so
an issue.
We're switching.
I could bring you onto that show if you want. And then we got
it's definitely. Money. I actually do think it's a coping mechanism, and I realize when certain people, especially with Yossi, like everyone takes it differently. For me personally, I know also I came to the point of acceptance and maturity that that everyone deals with things differently, and you got to do what you got to do, and you can't be upset at I don't want to say upset. You can't be you can't say this person's doing the wrong thing, because everyone it's whatever I say Shimon Pan Latayr, everyone's different, and for me this is the only way I see it, and I rock with it,
Okay,
so actually roll with it. Sorry.
Nice. Okay, yeah.
For those, I don't know if anyone can see it will show the
for those but the people are listening.
That's true.
And there's also going to be an intro, so I'll introduce who you are. But yeah, we kind of went out of order only because I got excited with the dark humor. I'm like, okay, let's expound on that. But walk me through, I guess. Give me
I can't walk.
Okay, true. Okay, roll me through your. I guess when you were younger, was there anything up that there was gonna any indication that your legs wouldn't be working at some point? Or
there was really I played. I'm 6'1". I mean, so like I always.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're 6'1".
Yeah, I'm 6'1".
Cool.
My legs are pretty long. We could do
I
it.
don't doubt
You could do a ruler.
I mean, you're basically almost taller than me when you're sitting, so I'm not very tall. But.
So I was always playing basketball. I was pretty tall, so it was like nice to get rebounds, and I had a lot of fun playing sports and following sports, whatever. And playing sports was, a great outlet, and all the Rabbeim said it's a very healthy outlet and everything like that. So I was very, excited about that. I always biked and run and different, drove and everything like that. And there was really no sort of indication. Just then suddenly, what was it like? Actually, as the day of filming is Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. 3 years ago was the surgery on my spine. Everyone says refuah shleima on your feet. I was like, not this feet, it's the spine. But what happened is that one day in the summer, 3 years ago, in the summer of June of 2019, I started getting like this tingling pain in my left leg, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, it was. All my siblings are in the healthcare field, so we thought like, maybe they're gonna. They're like, no, I don't know. It's maybe we really didn't know. Mm-hmm. And they would never want to think that your brother has a tumor, you know what I'm saying? So, and then we just went, there's a very special doctor in the neighborhood. I'm sure you know Dr. Lchaim.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
Great accent.
Yeah, he's a great accent.
I'm a great doctor also.
Yeah, he's also one of the greatest diagnosticians. So I went to him, like, on my birthday, it was June 30th, I think. And I went to him and I said, I don't know, my foot's hurting. And just backtrack 1 second, a week before that, I went to Dr. Lchaim. I went to this orthopedist, and he put on a boot, like, these walking boots. Mm-hmm. I tied it, whatever. He said, put on for 6 weeks, you'll be totally fine. I said, great. This is, great plan. Then when I tied it tight one night, because I wanted to go to Camp Dark is my last year. So I wanted to, play. I wanted to swim at least, do something. So I tied it tight. I thought maybe, silly me, I thought maybe it would, expedite the process. Turns out, it didn't really expedite. It just made it, the left, literally, when you walk, each leg picks up. My left leg was literally dragging on the floor.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I knew something was up. So I went to Dr. Lchaim, and he's like, go to the emergency room right away. And then that's the rest of the story, Then we went to the... Then I went to the emergency room, and we took a MRI of the spine. And they said you have a tumor. And I said, do I need surgery? And they're like, I don't know. Well, the doctor it was late at night already. I was there from the whole morning, the whole day, getting it to get MRI. And they said you're gonna have to. Then they said you have to wait for the neurosurgeon to come tomorrow. I was like, neurosurgeon? I was like, what does neurosurgeon mean?
Right.
I'm like this innocent yeshiva guy, coming at 19
right.
years old, the neurosurgeon. It's like, it's like I don't know what to think of that. And finally they said, the neurosurgeon came the next day. It's like 110% you need surgery. I was like, oh man. So basically they take out, the way he said it was like, we're going to come in, take lead out, taking lead out of a pencil. I was like, oh my gosh, you're taking tumor out like lead of a pencil. I was like,
were you at that point thinking, because I don't know at that point how serious it was, but were you thinking oh my gosh, I'm gonna die? Were you thinking, oh my gosh?
It was never. I never thought I was gonna die. No, never. It never came to that point.
Did they tell you that you might not be able to walk?
Oh, so that we really didn't know. We really didn't know, and then only I had no idea what to think. I was just totally clueless, and it was like a clueless, innocent guy. I had no idea what to think. And sure enough, after the surgery is when things started to they started telling me things like you're gonna have to go. Maybe you'll be able to walk in 6 months. Maybe you're gonna have to go to rehab. And then they had this something called a PMNR doctor, which is a pain management, and they also do PMR, physical medicine rehabilitation. Mm-hmm. So that's their job is literally this, rehab and stuff. I went to great rehab, Mount Sinai, and they teach you. They literally happens is anytime. So my tumor was in the middle of the spine, T10. It's called thoracic 10, and so there's cervical, thoracic, lumbar. So from the cervical, is like the neck, and that controls like the hands and stuff, and then everything under below where the injury was gets affected. So mine was thoracic 10, so like anything in between there, the middle gets affected. So like, thank God I had like my upper body, which I'm very thankful for, but like the bottom half got really affected. And they said, and the craziest thing is we heard how we'll get into, how we started this Asher Yatzar campaign.
For sure.
So it was because after the surgery, I woke up. First of all, I was it was a 10.5-hour surgery.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long time. My family said it was like crazy. Like they were outside diving St. Tehillim, and like 10 hours, like
that is a very
long time. Yeah.
Like my wife had surgery. It was like maybe 2 hours. I was bugging out. 10 hours. I can't imagine.
10.5 hours. Yeah, it was. You go down. It was actually, as in today's Rosh Chodesh. I davened Rosh Chodesh. I davened Hallel. Sorry, I davened Hallel. I was like 6 in the. I woke up like 6 in the morning. Daven Hallel. 6:30 they come knocking on the door. Yeah, you're going down. I was like, it was never like I'm gonna die, but it was definitely like scary. Like, oh, I'm going down to surgery. Like, and I didn't know how. They said it to be about 6 hours. Turns out I woke up. The next thing I remember was like singing Hallel songs or something. That's my family. My sisters told me. I don't remember that.
You were singing Hallel?
That's what my sisters told me. I don't know.
Okay.
I was totally the anesthesia for 10.5 hours takes forever to wear off. So then the whole night, I remember like my lips were all dry and I couldn't eat anything, and my sister's busy there like putting on like they give you like wet stuff to wet your lips, and I don't remember much from that like first night. But then as the days went on, I was like, oh my gosh, I have something that I can't go to the bathroom. I was like, it was just so weird to me. And they said, yeah, we'll take out the catheter. We'll give you a chance to avoid after a few days. So it was like the surgery was Wednesday. It's like Friday morning. They said, okay, we'll give you a chance. Okay, great. 8 hours. I couldn't go. I said we have to put it back in. It was the most painful, scary experience I ever had.
Painful in what way?
Literally,
like physically
painful.
Okay.
Yeah, emotionally.
Why? But I thought you couldn't feel down there.
No, you could.
You could still feel.
Yeah.
Just things aren't operating the way
Correct.
you want it to. Oh,
right.
Okay, that's hard.
So, it's fine. I have tons of videos about it. I get very personal, so it's okay.
Okay.
So basically, they took a catheter and they put it in. I was screaming. It was. I remember it was right before Shabbos because they give you 8. It was like 8 hours, and all my family came to be there, and I was screaming. They put it in, and then the next day Shabbos they come in, on the day is the nurse, the PA or something, and she's like, yeah, so you put it back in, so. Well, you might have to catheterize for a few months, and whatever, and we'll teach you how to do it, and this and that. I was like, okay. I didn't know really what to think about it, but I did say that I screamed at her, and in a respectful way. I was like, we don't go by your rules. I'll show you. So I didn't say I'll show you what I didn't want to be disrespectful, but I was like, we go by different rules. So. Sure enough, that Motzei Shabbos, I called my Rabbi Kielson from this neighborhood, and I said, Rabbi, we got to do something. I don't know, do maybe Kabbalah, because he was in yeshiva, I was in Darche, and he always did Kabbahs and stuff. So he said, okay, give me a few minutes, whatever. He calls me back. It's Motzei Shabbos. It was this time of year, so Shabbos is very late, and he calls me back. I remember it was late at night. It was a dark room. I was very, very painful. Everything was like my back was still killing. I was still lying in bed. And he tells me, okay, we made a Kabbalah. We're going to make whatever Shimshon Pinka says. If you say Asher Yatzar with Kavana, then you won't need any come out to doctors. That's what it says. So we made a Kabbalah, and I remember he printed out cards. They were in camp then, Camp Araisa, and old, like, I don't know, at that time it was like 250 guys said from, it was like Gimel Tammuz around Dal Tammuz, till Shiva Asar B'Tammuz, till 3 weeks, they're gonna stand in place. I think maybe once a day or something like that, and we'll see what happens. And Mitzvah Hashem, you should have a full shlema for Yossi Hecht ben Devar. So I said, great, sounds good. The next day, Rabbi spoke about it, the Rashiva, and sure enough, that was Motzei Shabbos. Sunday, the Rashiva spoke about it. Monday morning, they said, okay, we'll give you another chance to void. I said, great. Take it out. I stand up with the PT, and they situate the bed to see if I could go. It came out. Mm-hmm. And it was the most. I'm usually from all this stuff. I became very like emotionally very I can't cry so much. I was bawling. It
really?
It was. I have a video of it. We did in one of our Asher Yatzar videos. We put in the beginning. It was just like it was like tears of joy. Like it was crazy. It was like something they tell you for 6 months, and all of a sudden like. I saw like Hashem's hand. Like he said, you'll be okay.
Wow. And at that point is when you're like, okay, I want to open an organization?
No, it was total. Because then what happened was, I went to the rehab, learned how to teach your brain how to walk again, and so one step, 2 steps, and then unfortunately, I see it in like a week after the surgery. I see a big thing in my back, like a ball. I was like, this is normal? And the doctor was like, yeah, it's normal. I was like, I don't think so. They ended up...
It was like, we're a boot. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Exactly. Can't really breathe a boot on your back. But yeah. So they take... the next day, my sister was with me. She's a nurse. So she said, can you check this out? And the doctor was a little more experienced doctor. And they take a swab. Like they put a needle in. And sure enough, later that day, it came back positive for a staph infection from the surgery because it was 10.5 hours. And nobody in Mount Sinai wanted to take it. I got transferred there because they had a good rehab, which does 3 hours a day of intense PT and OT. And I had to go back to LIJ, one more surgery, another surgery because another infection. A week after was that surgery. Then another week was another surgery for infection. And I had to use the catheter again, and like when I was back in Mount Sinai, so I think that's what happened. Charlie Harari came to visit me. We had a Baruch Hashem, a lot of visitors came to the hospital.
What was your connection to Charlie Harari?
I don't know, somebody from
told them to.
Yeah, so I asked them to come, and we were schmoozing, and I mentioned to him something like, I don't know, maybe I want to make, maybe would you make a video for me, like to do like about Asher Yatzar, because it worked so well last time. I wanted to work again. I need anything. It was so painful, Mm-hmm. So he's like, I want you to make it, and that was like very special. And at that point already, I don't remember where the word Asher to the Yatzar came from, but it means Asher is like we say Asher is praise, and Yatzar is we just use play on words. A funny story about that, when we started making, we were about to make I'll get back to Chai Rai, but just this funny video. So somebody came to Rabbi Kielsen and said, you're changing Chazal's words. You're not allowed to do it. Asher Yatzar it means Asher, literally in the bracha that Yatzar created. Asalam Chachma. You can't change the words. So he spoke to the Archie's President, David Bender, and he said, okay, we'll call Shmuel first. One of the biggest Pesachim in Chicago. Yeah. They call Shmuel first, and Shmuel first said it's a great idea. I love the name. I was like. I wanted to go back. Whoever told her that I wanted to like plaster. I don't know, I'm joking, but like whatever. So back to the Charlie Harari. He said. So I remember at that point because he gave me his book. He inscribed that Asher to the Yatzar. So I remember. I guess I don't remember clearly when the name came up. I guess Hashem just put it whatever. And Charlie said you should make the video. So I was practicing making videos. We were sending it to him, and like on the iPhone. And then Rabbi Kielsen has a cousin who does professional. Professional videos is a big thing. I know you have beautiful videos that you always. I'm actually big. I've been since day one. I've been following you.
I appreciate that.
All your shows.
Thank you.
Besides Rabbi Leibowitz, I think I'm like the next person to have to watch all your videos and podcasts. So he has this guy named Moshe Brie. He does a very great job, and he actually came to the hospital from my hospital bed, and he filmed it. And I was like practicing a few times. We took a few takes, and he actually took a video, and we put it out, and we sent it out to a lot of people, and the feedback was like amazing. And I was like, one second, like after I came home from the hospital, I was like, we should really continue this, like if Baruch Hashem people were mechazik from it, and so whatever. I spoke to Rabbi Kielsen, we made more videos, and we printed like magnets say Asher Yatzar and stand in place, and people have done it before, obviously, because it's a famous thing, that famous segula. But like we just like put a cherry on top. You know, what I'm
Right.
saying?
No, you're definitely a good leader for that initiative. What would you define the mission of Asher to the Yatzar? Like, what's the goal of
The
it?
goal really is appreciating your body. It's not Asher Yatzar is not the it is a focal point, but my main message, that's why I appreciate you having me on to spread the message using this platform, is really to appreciate what you have. Because I wasn't like, I know you're big, you were a division head, you're a big leader in Camp Simcha. Like, I wasn't in Camp Simcha, as a kid, like, with in a wheelchair. I was a regular, I don't want to call it regular, it's not fair. I was an able-bodied, kid, and went to regular camps, regular Red Day camp, played sports, and as I said before. So, like, I know what it's like to walk and play sports, and the older Rabbeim say you appreciate what you have until you lose it. It's true,
right?
What they're saying, they're not. It's not just
fluffy talk,
yeah.
Right?
Jinx. It's really true, because I for 19 years I walked like a regular able-bodied person, and now Hashem said, for whatever reason, you're not gonna do it, and fine, that's what it is. But like, at the end of the day, you appreciate what you have. You could walk, you go up steps, and just every little thing. I always you always have to think like, how am I gonna get up steps, right? So
right. Which we literally had on the way here. Shout out to Hatzalah.
Hatzalah is unbelievable, and Eli Langer.
Yeah.
From this kosher mama.
I heard a lot of hock about that show. But
what's it called again? Kosher money.
Kosher money. Yeah, I think it's called kosher money.
Right?
Yeah. For those.
Oh, he's related to you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Everyone listening, please go listen and watch Kosher Money. But yeah, no, Hatzalah is great.
And your father also, right?
My father was on Hatzalah for many years. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
the hock. How do you know all the hock?
I know the hock. So basically, yeah, Hatzalah is amazing. Where were we up? Oh yeah,
you were saying.
Right. So every little thing, and so like the main focal message is appreciate what you have, and Baruch Hashem. I guess we'll get into the music now. Like that's what we did with this. I did a music video with Joey Newcomb and Yossi Hecht, and that was more about refuah, but it just by refuahs, but like we did it in Camp Simcha. It's about appreciation, and we're doing a Met Hashem. Avram Fried already announced it, so I can announce it. We're doing a new song about appreciating what you're thinking. Hashem, the lyrics, amazingly done by Yitzi Wallner, says, every sunrise I open up my eyes, wondering what the day will be like. Will I stand where I have stood before? Knowing that you're there, all I can think is to say these three little words, Hashem, thank you. So that's the message, and I'm really, I asked Yitzi to like make a song about this campaign, and he basically put these words to it, and it's amazing, because really we don't know, cancer doesn't differentiate, like now we didn't get to it yet, but I had the tumor grew back 2 more times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I had another 2 surgeries. So like it doesn't different.
Your tumors are like you, like it doesn't give up, Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that. No, but like it's so I asked. So I wanted to know if it was cancer. So I asked my doctor. It was a very funny story. I asked my doctor. I was like, so does that mean I have cancer? Is it like malignant now? The tumor that grew back? He's like, you could call it whatever you want. You could call it You could call it apples and oranges. I see that it came back 2 more times. You're gonna have to be treated, with the chemo. So I had this past summer. So after 2 surgeries this past winter, I had one in February of 2021 and one of May 25th, 2021. And then this past summer, I got radiation for 6 weeks and chemo with pills. So Baruch Hashem, for now, the MRIs are showing that it's dormant, and it's not. It's so far Baruch Hashem, with everyone's tefillas and everything, that's it's calmed down.
Okay, I mean, and it should continue to calm down. But through all of this, if you didn't have a hard enough, you also had a very big loss in your life, and your mother died.
Yeah, that was. I guess that's the hock on the street.
That is the hock.
Okay, fine. So yeah, she was definitely crazy story about my mother is that. So when I was in the hospital, it's crazy when the last memories is the ones that stick with you. Like, she did so much for you before,
right?
Before this whole house, But from the first hospital stay, the last 2 hospital stays this past year, she obviously wasn't around, unfortunately. But the first hospital stays, which I don't think, maybe could that helped me get through everything. I'm sure it did. Was she didn't miss one day for 3 months straight. So I was there from, just to give you the dates, just so you can have it, June 30th or July 1st of 2021 till October 11th, 2021.
Wow.
That's July, August, September, and a little bit of October, almost close to 3.5 months. She did not miss one day, and a lot of times she taught in tag, and she would teach there in the morning. I mean, in the summer, obviously, she's off, but she would, teach there in the morning. Then, she gave up her afternoon job and came straight to me to be with me every single day. Did not miss one day. So if you nailed it on the head, that it definitely was a massive loss, and it's she was definitely my biggest fan of all the work that we're trying to do and appreciating, and she sent it out and put it on her status and all that stuff. So it's definitely was it's definitely a big loss, but we have to believe that we're not in this is not our world. We're just trying to be Avdei Hashem, and we just got to believe that Hashem has a broader picture, and for whatever reason she had to go in at 58.
Wow. No, I'm thinking if we should talk more about it or we should talk about something else. But I'm
whatever you want.
I know you're very interesting. You're a very, I guess, open book, and just very, you say what's on your mind. Like, I know you're already for a few years.
Right.
Like, it's geschmack to be around, because I don't know. You have a lot of people in life that are very guarded, I would say, and
right.
like they put up these like fences, and you mamish seem the opposite of that.
No, it's funny. I touched on it in the beginning of beginning of the interview, where everyone copes with things differently. Mm-hmm. So I can't be upset at other people who do what you're talking about. Everyone's a lot. There's stuff I think of Mark Fayda Basmal Panima, that woman, whatever, all these different stuff. But like, there is certain point of privacy, and certain points, certain parts maybe I shouldn't, disclose, and maybe there are certain parts that. But in terms of open book, I don't see any other option. You know what I'm saying? This is the only option I see that. And I feel like if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be able to have a smile. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, we'll be right back to the episode with Yossi. But first, I have some notes for you about an incredible podcast. Now, there's something we could all use about now, and I know I could. It's called 36. It's not the number, it's the way it's spelled, THIR. You get the point. A new weekly podcast, and it's something everyone will want to listen to. Take this. An ancient Jewish tradition teaches that in every generation, there are 36 people upon whose kindness and righteousness the world depends on, but whose identity no one knows. I know it sounds like a mystery novel that's not true, but this is a true thing. This is a true thing in the world. And not even the 36 people themselves know. Okay, now I'm intrigued. You love a good mystery? In need of some goodness and some spiritual inspiration? I know I could use some. Listen to 36, a new podcast as host Justin Hyatt. Justin, I'm sorry. I know you say your name a bunch, but I am terrible at reading last names. I don't know. But he scores digital to find the 36 most fascinating souls whose stories and lives bring this old tradition to life. Neeson Black, Sivan, I forgot her name, the news anchor person who's incredible. Check it out. He has managed to find the most wonderful, interesting people doing the most wonderful, interesting things with the aim of discovering what makes Israel such a remarkable place, a source of goodness and inspiration. 36 is a Soul Shop production in partnership with B'nai Zon. You can download it wherever you get your podcasts. And I loved it. I listened to a few of them. I am excited to listen to the rest of them, and you don't want to miss any of them. It's called 36, THIRTYSIX. That's 36, and it can be found on Apple, Spotify, or on the Times of Israel. You know it's a good podcast when Times of Israel is featuring it. So go ahead, check them out. They're doing great stuff, and in the show notes, there will be a link, and try one out. I would say go through the list, see if there's someone that you know or someone you want to know more about. It's really cool. It's really cute, and I love the compactness of like 36. It's like, there's a number, there's a goal, there's a reason, there's a mission. It's a great podcast. Check it out. And now, back to this week's episode. It's so interesting because you meet so many people in life that everyone has things going on with them. Everyone has challenges. But very often you see people and you're like, and you don't really know, but like seeing things, you know, you look at them like they're walking, their parents are alive, like things seem pretty good, but like they seem very depressed, and whether they're struggling with mental health, that's one thing. But sometimes people like there's so much good in their life and like they have a hard time seeing it. It's just, for me, it's so interesting to see you that you have certain things that it's by no means perfect, but you're like, no, I have so much good going on.
That's exactly you like literally like couldn't have summed it up.
I'm gonna be the PR guy for
yeah,
Asher
exactly.
Yatzar.
You couldn't have summed it better. That's why I want to thank you for having me on, because like, you know, this is the message literally I'm trying to portray. I'm not saying that I would I this is Hashem. There's no choice. We can't. One thing that I want to say is that. So a lot of people ask me, oh, how do you deal with it? Your mother died, and you're a crippled Yossi. Like that joke. That's a good one. So I was like,
should that be the title of it? Like Yossi Hecht,
crippled Yossi. Crippled Yossi. Inspiration for the nation. Presenting crippled Yossi. Yossi Hecht.
We're probably not gonna.
We're not gonna do that.
But,
so a lot of people ask me, so how do you do it and this? And my answer is very simple. Answer is, do I want this? I mean, maybe. I mean, obviously, Hashem. Obviously, up there.
Hold on. You're coming dancing around it. Yeah. Obviously, Hashem, says everything. It's okay for you to say like, this isn't what I preferred.
Right, okay, fine. I just don't want. I don't know. I don't want to say.
I don't know. Maybe you're like Rabbi Kelson's gonna see this and be like, Yaakov Linger's a kaifer. But no. I think it's it's okay to say that obviously everything that happens is for a reason. That's what Hashem wants, and that's the best. But at the same time, yes, you would prefer to walk. You would prefer your mother to be here.
Right, exactly. But once it happened, once this, the last 3 years that my mother died, and that that I had 5 surgeries, and I all this, and I have to go do maintenance chemo now and all that stuff. Would I want it? Okay, maybe not. But at the end of the day, it's here. Are we changing it? I mean, maybe living Lchaim has a new thing, like they have special medicines.
Well, we do good podcasts. Yeah. I don't know if we're in the medical.
No, I'm saying living Lchaim. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm saying like I don't know. I'm saying like I don't know. Maybe you have besides podcasts, you're gonna start branching out.
Right. It would fit the brand. It would fit the brand.
It fit the brand. But especially with the yellow and the black, it'll fit the smiley faces.
Right.
But at the end of the day, nobody could change it, and nobody could just there's no pills that even Baruch Hashem I was zeicha to be with all the many gedolim and meet with them and stuff like that. No one's gonna say that there's a magic pill and you go to this gadol at Yisrael and it's hiding in the back of Maras Machpelah and he could give you it just doesn't work like that. That's not how Hashem made the world. So at the end of the day, this is how it is, and this is the situation. You want to continue like this and you want to be miserable. Fine. Is anyone going to stop you? No one's going to stop you, right? I don't think anyone could. Nobody's going to have the guts to say to somebody, you have to be happy and this. End of the day, people understand, that the people are going through hard times. Yes, 100%. Once it's here, ride with it, roll with it, jinx. Ride with it, go with it, have fun with it. Make it count, and that's something that. I definitely in the beginning I wasn't but Baruch Hashem it's actually a bracha that I came on now and not a few years ago, because I came to this point of realization, acceptance that this is what it is and we can't change it. This is what it is, and there's only 2 paths to go. You go the right or the left, and I chose to be try to be b'simcha. I try my best every day. I'm not saying it's easy, but you just try to do the best. And actually for the so you have to remind me again what that's an issue we should talk about. Like with I went to Cincinnati this past year, and it was Purim time, so I said a vart that Mordechai in Parak Dalet, it says Mordechai Yadaz Kol Shenasa Vaikam Mordechai Espegada Vaiba Shak Veifer. He wore a sak veifer, and that he was sad, and they were all sad about the Gzera. And I said over there in Cincinnati that the Maisa, I think this is the MS, and I was asking the Rabbeim, and there was some social workers in the crowd, so I was asking them also, like, I don't think Mordechai was depressed. He was a happy person. Just he saw that there was an issue at hand. There was that's an issue. Hence, he saw his issue at hand, and he said we have to dive in and do. And there was afterwards we were talking with the Rabbanim and the Rabbanim of the neighborhood and also and there's a social worker and he agreed with me that I mean maybe there's people that could argue, but I'm just saying obviously there's everything's machlekes, but there's obviously people that could argue, but at the end of the day, choosing to be happy is a choice, and that's one thing that, to answer your question, that's the one thing that I Baruch Hashem think that I'm trying to choose that path and not. And Hashem should please give me kayach to continue in that path. And I really like it this way, and I don't want to I don't want to veer to the left,
I really love that. That's, I really think the words inspiration for the nation after what you literally just said. But you mentioned something that I totally wanted to bring up is Gedolim. I don't know. If I go on WhatsApp status, like at least once a week, I see you with the gadol. It's not just you with a picture. It's like you like giving the gadol chizik. And so I want to delve into, I guess, some of your relationships with gedolim. So I guess you start me off. Like
I'm gonna start off with the first interaction was with the video was with Rabbi Bruni, and we made that was like the feature that really put this message out to the world. And Rabbi really helped us. I texted him, can we do this is Rabbi
like Jen, like I texted the Gadol Dar. Yeah.
No, it's funny story. I'm a Darche boy for 17 years. It's very funny. So Rabbi Bender always says over. Rabbi Bender's, obviously we get to him. Rabbi Bender is my Rashiva. So he always makes a joke that he said Rabbi Bruni bothers him that you're always on your email. Rabbi Bender, but he's known to answer his emails very quickly. So Rabbi Bender bothered him back. And yeah, you're always texting. So they're friends from the Mir, whatever. He comes to Darche every Tuesday. So I asked him, can we when Rebbe comes to Darche on Tuesday, does Rebbe mind? I asked Rabbi Bender, I asked Rabbi Trank, whatever, and we worked it out. And they said I could have him for I could have the schus to have him on the video for a few minutes. So he did I mean everyone can watch it on asheryatzar.org, ASHERTOTHEYATZAR.org.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes for anyone watching or listening.
So and Rav Eli Bruni, he really spoke about how he spoke about this message, Asher Yatzar with Hashem created the wisdom and everything is, and we have to appreciate what we have, and that was like the first my first interaction that I said, oh wow, I could have the schus to meet these gedolim, and I knew him from before, whatever, but maybe we could use the gedolim are that means that I should continue, because Rabbi Bruni is not just a man to just waste his time,
Right.
So if he's willing to do this video, then maybe I should continue. So Baruch Hashem. Since then we went to Shmuel Kamenetsky, and he also did it because we filmed his great nephew Yehuda Bar Kamenetsky from his father's Mordechai Kamenetsky from South Shore. So so I said it'll be great, right? His great nephew and him. So we drove down to Philly, and he and we filmed him. And just before we filmed him, we went Sukkot time. I think right after my mother died, and I just want to share this with you. It was amazing, and this is really Rav Shmuel. I'm really living with that till today. So at that point, I wasn't at this point of acceptance as I am now, Baruch Hashem. But at that point, it was fresh off my mother's, dying. And I went to him. So my mother died Rosh Hashanah, Sukkot. I went with Rabbi Feder, different Rebbe, and Rabbi Kilson. We drove down to Philly. We got an appointment, Sukkot, right at Bein Hazmanim. So there's no yeshiva because he had time. And he gave us so much time. And I asked him like this. I said, Rabbi Bender, I daven in Darche, Yom Kippur. And he gave me psich for Neila. I had this chos. It was amazing. So I said, I'm opening there. I'm sitting by Neila, and we're saying, Hashem, Hashem, Kel, Rachum, V'chanan. Hashem is merciful, and He's grateful. Erech Apayim, V'rav Chesed, He's Rav Chesed, V'emes. So I asked Rabbi Shmuel, I said, Rebbe, I'm not asking this to be a kaifer, Chas v'shalom. I'm asking Pashit. I want to know the truth. I said, I'm sitting there. I'm the only person. And there's 400 or 500 guys in the Darkes Besmadish. It's packed. The Yemnara. I said, I'm the only guy in the entire room that was in a wheelchair, and I'm the only guy that was in a that lost their mother. Maybe there's like one or two other guys that were Yusaimim, like I remember by Yizkar. I might have went out because it's the first year. There's a whatever, but I remember there's like barely any, mostly Talesim. I mean, there's no Bachram that were that Baruch B'lian Har, Baruch Hashem. Today's day and age, B'lian Har people. You're 70 or you're a young spring chicken, So I asked for Shmuel. I said, I'm sitting there, and by Ne'ilah, it's like I don't know, like 10 times you say Hashem Shalom Karach. I said, I'm saying over and over, and I'm thinking to myself, Hashem, this is Rachem Echanun? I don't understand. I thought Rachem Echanun. Why is this Rachem Echanun? So I asked for Shmuel. I said, Rebbe, I just want to know what's pshat. I have it on video. For maybe close to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, he's going on the table like this, back and forth, back and forth. He's just sitting there and not saying a word. And you could see his, the tsar is building, Klal Yisrael's weights on his shoulders. And he's just sitting there. He's not saying a word. And we're all just staring at him, Rabbi Kiel. We're all glued to him. What's he going to say? And he after he picks his head up after 3 to 5 minutes and he says, Kiel rachum v'chanun, dos heist amitzius. Just explain, rachum v'chanun, that Hashem's rachum v'chanun is a mitzias. That is this a table? This is a table.
It's the reality.
This is a microphone. This is a shirt. It's the reality. Do we understand why this is a table? Just to explain, do we understand why this is a microphone? We don't understand, but this is a mitzvah. This is just like this is a cup. Hashem is a rachem chan. We may not understand it, but that Hashem is being. His essence is that, and that really gave me such a new perspective. That's something I live with. That's really what helped me. It's one of the main things that helped me come to this realization that stop being bitter about the world and just be happy, And after Shul, we had this past year, we did a Tisha B'Av event. I mentioned this year, we know Tisha B'Av, but we're not doing this year because we're doing the music video coming out right after Tisha B'Av with Avram Fried. So Rav Ruvain Rav Ruvain Feinstein. Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ruvain.
You're on just the Rav first name basis, because
so his father was called Rav Moshe.
I know.
So
yeah.
Rav David. It happens to be we have a shtickle relationship because my grandfather B'lian Hara Kanai Hara has been a Rav in the Lower East Side since 1964.
Wow!
So that's a long time. So we have the Feinsteins and the Sifs go back a long time. So Sifs is my mother's maiden name. I mean, am I still a Sif if she died or
what?
She died. So am I still a Sif or?
No, yeah, you lost it. Sorry, it's one of the part of the package. Yeah, okay. Sorry,
it's like the Yasin pack. Okay.
Yeah, you lost that. Sorry,
okay,
we'll blur out the Sif name.
Okay,
you can't use it. So your family and the Feinstein. But what are you gonna say about Reb Ruvain?
So that's why I'm saying that's how we. So we've been going back for a while. So Ruvain, spoke about this by the Tisha event, and I'm gonna say over one vart that he said. He says, in Asher Yatzar, it says, I actually wrote this in the forward we're putting out a sefer with Rabbi Moshe Davalibus. He's a very famous author from halachically speaking. He wrote 8 volumes, and he's a big Talmud Rybelski. So Mar Hashem, that's coming out very soon.
Amazing.
It's a book about halachas, stories. It's very cool. So I wrote that in the forward to the book. I didn't write it, obviously. Rabbi Moshe is a big Talmud Chacham. He wrote it. So I just wrote a forward, and I said over what he said by the Tisha event. It was amazing. He says, "Asher Yatzar chachma varvay nekavim nekavim chalum chalulim." What are you talking about arteries? What does that have to do with anything? Why are you talking about cavities and lungs? What does that have to do with it? Just say thank you Hashem that I'm able to go to the bathroom or what's this whole? So Rav Ruvain said something amazing. He said, creation is what shows Hashem's might, Hashem's gevura, Hashem's power in the world. If he wanted, he could just go right now, and we could just drop that right now. Hashem could do anything. He could put, he could puncture a lung. Any person walking around right now could just drop that right now. I mean, maybe Hashem doesn't. He runs the world in a certain amount of teva, but in essence, is what proves Hashem's, power. creation is the tool Hashem uses, and that's what Reuven said. Now, it's such like a mind opener, no? It's like a.
I really like that. Yeah, I mean, it's Gedalim talk, and they could say what someone can't say. Like they could say in 1 minute what someone can't say in like 10 hours, and it's like, whoa, that's fascinating. That's incredible. They're tapped in. They know everything about the Torah and Hashem's creations. Something else I want to mention is I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but you're working on a podcast.
Thank you, Hashem Nation. They're great people. The Bloomsteins and Mendy Portnoy and Yaakov Josephi, a few people. They're great people.
Love them.
Yeah, so we're not sure, all the ramifications, but we're trying to host a podcast with people. It's called like Grateful Warriors, like people who are, you're still thankful even though they have certain challenges. And Baruch Hashem, we found some people to interview, and there's more than we thought. And the Baruch Hashem, hopefully we could get it out. And also, you're definitely the leader in this, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I always tell people, I guess they get a little self-conscious when they're like talking about another podcast. They're like, do you mind if I'm like, kol kavod, like if there's more chizek and more interviews that's going to help people, like, great. I mean,
that's why, right? That's why I appreciate. That's why I asked you, like, when this stuff was coming out, and
yeah, you were very, very mindful. You didn't need to be, but
I didn't because I felt bad. I didn't want to like,
No. So, I appreciate that.
But definitely, what one thing that living Lchaim does, which is that when, and you always talk about Yidflix, Yidflix, how the content living Lchaim is no one gives you a plug for that. Living Lchaim is the same, is doing the same thing. Like when I'm a few years younger than you, but like when I was growing up, like there's I'm saying, like music videos first of all didn't come out till recently.
Right.
Last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's newish.
It's a newish thing. So. Yeah. There was no real kosher entertainment. Like maybe like Lipa came a Lipa experience or something from Hanukkah, I remember. Like, or maybe Shmorg from Ura, Like,
right.
There was not real, like, this is like something that's, very, even kids could listen to this and all that stuff. So I just want to thank you for...
I really appreciate that.
Thank you for being a living Lchaim and giving people some extra kosher entertainment.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I always say... obviously I'm creating this content for people interested, but like I think ultimately I'm doing it for myself. Like I'm going back to 8-year-old Yaakov Langer and being like, I wish I had more,
exactly.
Like
you're doing it for your son, exactly.
Yeah, and Mir Hashem, yeah. I mean, I think he's gonna cringe, Mir Hashem, when he watches this. Like, which I can like. If my father had a podcast, I feel bad for him. He's gonna be so embarrassed. I feel so bad. Yeah, he definitely will not watch this, but he'll watch your music videos. So. Okay. So it's fine. So I ask people these fun questions at the end. I consider them fun. Some people don't always think they're fun and think they're more serious. But if you could sit down for 1 hour with one person who is from history or no longer with us, who would you pick?
Could I pick my mother?
You could pick whoever you want.
Oh, I guess I'd like to, say my last goodbye. I mean, I didn't really get to say a proper goodbye because she was she went down really quick. Like it was pretty crazy. I came home in October. And like by November, she's ready to start coughing, and then it was very quick, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. So when I said goodbye, she was not really conscious. So I would like to say my proper goodbye to her. But like if you want to talk like other than family, it'd be like maybe Moshe Feinstein, because like, and as I said before, like it'd be so, like it's so I feel so cool, like my parents saw him, like my uncle saw him, like my grandfather was so close to him. It was just like he mamish like brought like besides like Aaron Cutler, like the same time Aaron or Moshe, like they literally were the founders of America. Like Moshe was, you read the book, like it's amazing, like what people like listened to him and he answered shilas for little kids and gave candies. Like just these people are just not on this.
Yeah, bigger than life.
They're bigger than life. So probably Moshe Feinstein if it would be family.
Is there one particular mitzvah as of today that you feel more connected to than the others?
What I do like, actually, it's crazy. Sukkot is coming up. There's something about the sukkah that it's like there's so many mitzvahs. It's like you never like. Also, the people like in shul they sell luv and esrog. Then like the next day they're coming out for Hashanah.
Right.
It's just so much. There's like the sukkah and building. I used to build a sukkah. I used to do I built other people in the neighborhood sukkah. Now it's a little bit difficult to like I don't know hold the board and like wheel. It's a little complicated.
Right.
But I just there's something about sukkahs that just like it's right after the Yom Neroim. It's like your davenings. You did your davening, and now it's like sukkahs. Now you get to sit in the sukkah, do a lulav, the shanis. There's something about sukkahs that makes me gives me a breath of fresh air.
So one of the beauties of technology is the fact that we're in 2022, and you are someone that unfortunately your legs aren't working now, but you drove to this interview.
I did drive, yeah.
So tell me about your Batmobile.
It's the coolest thing. So after I came home, it was actually one of your we spoke about how Tzel's amazing. So Ellie was one of the people who we had a rotation, like who drove me every day, and I had to get rides here, rides there. It was just very annoying and complicated. So it happens to be, I'm sure you know him from Camp Simcha, Ranan Zaidel.
Yes.
So Ranan does he does this for a living. He does teaching people how to drive. Happens to be, I was lucky. I only had to get 2 lessons because I drove for 3 years before, from 18, 19, 20, whatever. So I only needed 2 lessons to learn how to use hand controls. It's the coolest thing is hand controls, and you go to, and in the car, I have a claw that picks a chair up, and I have a lift that takes me to the seat. It's like the coolest thing, and I just want to thank it was amazing because the government does pay for this stuff, because they want people to like be employed, and they want people to go to work, so they pay. But it was taking forever. The government, bureaucracy works forever.
Yeah.
So
they're like, we'll get you a car when you're 70.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And then at that point, you're ready to nursing home.
Right, exactly.
So, like, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
Exactly.
So I reached out to a certain philanthropist. I said, do you mind, I'm looking to get a car, and these things cost money. I was going to get like a used car and sell my mother's old car and get a used car, then try to get it updated or this. So I reached out to him, and he said, so how much funds did you collect already? So I said, actually, you're the first person I'm asking. I get an email a day later. You want to Israel. I get an email a day later from a secretary, and he said, Mr. So-and-so doesn't want you to look out, start, fundraising for your car. He wants to cover the whole thing.
Wow. And how much? Give me a ballpark. How much?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
So a Ram fan, which was what I was going to get, this story gets crazier. A Ram fan, a brand new Ram fan, which is a Ram that comes out, it goes in, and I think you've had one of the Pesach Weiss, right?
Yeah. And then Renan taught Pesach how to drive.
Right, exactly. So I think he has that, a Ram fan. Baruch Hashem, I thank Hashem every day that I'm able to use my hands, and I didn't want the ramp because it's too complicated. It's low floor, so if you hit especially in New York City, hit a puddle, you're in trouble. So what happened is that I didn't want that. I ended up wanting this claw, which is a cheaper option, and I mentioned to him, and just for this ramp van, a brand new one is $90,000.
Wow.
And
this isn't like some of these like fancy cars.
It's not a Lamborghini.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm sure all these fancy Lexuses, I'm sure it's more expensive. These cars are cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. Honestly, it's a great car. I was going to tell you, ended up happening, I ended up getting this other. I went to this company called the Mobility Expo. It's really cool. It's like Yehuda Gelman took me to this Mobilities Expo, which is really cool. They have different products, and I tried it out, and I liked it. So I wanted to take it, and so he first said he's going to cover the entire ramp van, which is like like $86,000 check I got, and then I emailed him back. I said, "Excuse, Mr. Sir, I'm getting a cheaper option, which is actually like a $20,000 cheaper. I mean, how could I return it?" Or he said, he emails me back, "I want you to keep it for expenses, gas, and all that stuff."
Really?
So if you want to Mikam, inspiration for the nation, Mikam, please, which other nation in the world do you know that could do that? They gave me a $90,000 check, and it says, "You know what? Keep it. I want you to keep for expenses." To me, that was, we didn't mention this in the podcast. This is something that if you would ask a question like, what is like your most, not best advice, you ask me what's the best advice, what is a story that sticks in your mind every single day that shows what nation, Mika Amkei, nation we're part of? this is the story. Can you imagine a person that do? I mean, and it gives me independence every single day. Now I could drive to interview. I could drive to shul. I go to Brooklyn for weddings. I go to, I went to just drove to Baltimore for Nufra. All these stuff people don't think about it, but that's something that's mikam chesro.
Beautiful. So I'm going to give you two questions. You could answer either both, or you can answer one. It's a pretty similar question. What's the best advice you've ever received, or the flip? What's the worst advice?
I don't want to sound sound silly, but I feel like this is my mission in life.
Wow.
Is to spread this awareness, Hashem, I'm fine with it. This is what He wants. I'm fine. I'm taking it by the reins, whatever it's called. And so I guess Rabbi Kielsen and Charlie Harari, all those people who were pushing me to start this this I don't want to call it campaign, movement, organization. I feel like that was the best advice that people gave me, and the worst advice was that person who said that Asher Yatzar not a good name.
Yeah, I think.
It is a little corny name, to be honest. But it just
Asher Yatzar. No, first of all, it
sounds weird. Or
no, it works because it's such a commonly said, I don't say phrase, pasuk, I don't know what it is, but it's in the head, so it's so easy. There's so many times there's organizations that there's literally one particular that my father, I was talking to him on the phone yesterday, he mentioned that and he botched it up. It's an English word, but it's just not, if Asher to the Yatzar, it's very
bringable.
I don't forget it, even if I heard it once.
Right, I hear you saying.
So I think from a branding perspective,
sometimes people it just sounds I don't know, it's some people it's babyish, but dude, I could take you to the rehab and show you how people can't go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying?
From the I'm not in the same boat, but from being out there, I think sadly there's very often criticism from people that are jealous.
That means you're doing a good job.
It means you're doing a good job, but
you
also,
know that, right? It's clear. It's
the nature. It's the nature. Right. If you're front facing and you have so many Rabbanim doing amazing things, and people are complaining, and they're just trying to do everything to help you.
Right.
But yeah, very often, at least I see, it's I try to, when someone criticizes, obviously there's always components of yes, maybe I could do something better, but there's also component of well, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes they're just trying to help and whatever, but a lot of times I see there's something in their life that they're missing, they're angry about, and
I never thought about that.
You're
That's
the guinea pig for whatever reason that they're just earring it, it's immature. Well, I
don't know if I ever got it, but someone told me I did get more emails from people that something about you change, it's not the right words, or Asher means that doesn't mean praise. Ashrei is praise, so it should be Ashrei to the Yatzar, because Yatzar means creator.
Right. So
people are upset at. I was just grow up.
Yeah, they sometimes miss what's the mission of here.
Right,
this
exactly.
is
it's
just
the
name.
So the name is not the name. Do you get the message?
Right.
I should have asked them that. But Rabbi Kielsen told me just don't answer.
People. Most of them just don't answer.
Yeah, don't. You're doing. If you're getting criticism, that means you're doing. So I just want to give you not that advice. I'm not here to give you advice. I'm just telling you from a brotherly perspective. That's what if people are criticizing you, you're doing a good job.
Right. That's true. So, Yas, thank you so much for coming out here. Glad we finally made this happen.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. And you should have a full refuah shleima. You want to say your full name so people could daven for you?
Yossi Hecht.
Thank you so much for listening or watching to this podcast. And if you got to this point, I appreciate you consuming the entire thing. And it'd mean the world to me if you could go ahead and rate us 5 stars on Apple or Spotify, or give us a thumbs up on YouTube, or leave a comment in YouTube. Tell us something that you appreciated about this episode. I don't know how the algorithm works, but whenever you leave comments and you engage and you and you share the episodes with people, it helps me out, helps us out. And if there's anything you could do for me, it's share it with the world. If you feel that anyone else would get chizuk from this episode, from Yossi's story, share it with them. It's so easy to complain in life. We all do it. We all complain. But I think Yossi gives over this beautiful message of you go with what you have and you deal with it. And you just go and just don't let that stop you. He's a massive doer, and he's a mini Oskin. I mean, he's not mini, he's very tall, but I don't know, I think he's a mini Oskin, and I think we'll be hearing and seeing a lot of his future projects really, really succeed. I mean, he's so young and he's done so much, and please, right now, you go check out 36, the way it's spelled. It'll be in the show notes. Really fantastic podcast with really, really unique and cool guests, and give them a try. They're doing good stuff. Till next time. Well, next time is in 3-4 days from now. You're gonna get another episode, and then another episode, and then another episode. Either way, keep on being inspirational. Living L'chaim.